Trudeau and his Liberals 1 year after taking power. I'm Brian Lilly with the Rebel.media. November 4th, 2015, cold day. I stood outside Rideau Hall along with the other assembled media, waiting for newly sworn-in Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to emerge with his cabinet. And the thing they couldn't stop bragging about was that they had the first gender-balanced cabinet. And Trudeau told the world in a clip heard around the world why it was so important.
Because it's 2015.
Is it still really all that important? Is it one of their biggest achievements? One of Trudeau's key ministers says so. At an event to mark their 1 year anniversary of taking power, Trudeau bussed in hundreds of school kids, had his cabinet ministers stand behind him. He had his shirt undone a little bit, the tie all askew, the shirt sleeves rolled up, showing how rakish he is. Oh, it's all so wonderful. And he talked about how great he was, and then his cabinet ministers got up and talked about how great they were. It took up more than an hour, and the students got a few minutes to ask questions. But Freeland actually stood up when it was her turn. Chrystia Freeland, the international trade minister, and said the thing that she's most proud of isn't her most recent big achievement. It's the whole gender balancing cabinet thing.
I thought about what I was the proudest of, and what I'm the proudest of this year is to have served in Canada's first gender-balanced cabinet.
Now, if it was me, I would actually be saying signing and getting finalized the Canada-European Trade Agreement, CETA. This is one of the biggest trade agreements in history. I would say that should be the thing that you're most proud of. But I'm not a Liberal. I don't pretend to understand these folks. Look, the Liberals are still getting a pass for the most part in the media. There's some questions about their unethical fundraising practices, but when it comes to policies, are they being held to account? Not really. In the last election, Justin Trudeau made 219 promises to Canadians. Thankfully, there's a website called Trudeau Meter that tracks how the government's doing. Not so well. Let's give a rundown. 219 promises made. Of those, 34 have been achieved, 64 are reportedly in progress, 95 not started yet, 26 have actually been broken, such as promising that the middle-class tax cut and the tax hike on the wealthiest Canadians would be revenue neutral. It's not. It's not in the least. Saying that you would only run $10 billion deficits for 3 years. We know how that's gone. Or saying, for example, you'd give $100 million to the provinces and territories to fund local guns and gangs units for police to get the bad guys with the guns off of our streets. Hasn't happened yet. Just 3 of the 26 broken promises that Justin Trudeau has gotten away with. Meanwhile, another broken promise, I would say, is giving Parliament a say in how we deploy our troops. It's something that Trudeau desperately wanted when he was in opposition, wanted to have a vote on expansion of the mission in Iraq to fight ISIS, and now he's looking at sending our troops off on peacekeeping missions and not saying where, why, or how long. In fact, he's just allowed to get away with spewing out pablum that means nothing when asked about it. In fact, he did that at his news conference, said Canadian troops can offer so much more.
So as we look at how we're going to engage in peace operations around the world, I think Canadians expect us to understand that a layered approach that looks at multiple different ways that the instability is being created or being perpetuated, and how Canada can perhaps help to not just prevent it from happening in an immediate or punctual way, but create the conditions for longer-term stability and security, is very much in keeping with what Canadians expect.
That whole answer goes on for quite some time. He never explains what the more is, just that we can do more than stop people from shooting each other. I would say that's the most important thing in peacekeeping. But then again, I look for results, not pablum, not promises, not airy ideas that have no meaning in reality. That's the way a Liberal thinks, though, and maybe that's why so many Canadians and so many in the media are still enthralled with Justin Trudeau. He hasn't wrecked the place yet, as Warren Kinsella likes to say about Stephen Harper. He would comment on Harper and say he didn't wreck the place. Well, Trudeau hasn't either, but I don't think he's off to a good start. We'll see what next year brings. Hey, if you like what you just saw, make sure you never miss a Rebel video again. You can click down here for subscribe. You'll subscribe to our YouTube channel, never miss one. Or you can head on over to the Rebel.media. Join a really cool club. It's called Becoming a Member. Then you can access member-only content.